Hi everyone, this is Lorena and I'm just gonna give you a short disclaimer because I think this is necessary. I'm no scientist, I have no science background, I just really love genetics and I want to talk about genetics to you, and I found the right opportunity to do so because I read a news the other day that will change the world. The UK is the first ever country in the world to approve a gene editing therapy. It will use the CRISPR technology and the therapy is called Casgevy. This sounds kind of complicated because we don't know what it is, but I'm here to explain this to you in a very easy and accessible way for you to understand. This kind of therapy, Casgevy therapy, is for two specific diseases. One of them is sickle-cell anemia and the other one is beta-thalassaemia. They both have to do with a mutation in a gene that makes the hemoglobin from your red blood cells to be kind of defective. The CRISPR technology is a technology that won the Chemistry Nobel Prize in 2020, and it's basically capable of changing the world as we know it. This is able to change your genes, and if it's used properly, it will change the world for the better. If it's used not so properly, it might be a problem. The CRISPR technology that is used by Casgevy for these two specific diseases, what does is target the specific cells that will then create the hemoglobin. These kind of cells are located in your bone marrow, which creates about 95% of your hemoglobin. So the hemoglobin that is found in the red blood cells. In the case of the sickle cell anemia, the hemoglobin is kind of flat and they kind of stick together. When your red blood cells stick together, that is not good because that clogs your blood. So you then have clogged blood, which is extremely painful for the person that has that kind of pain attacks. Let's call them pain attacks. In the case of the beta thalassemia, the problem is that the hemoglobin is not really capable of transporting the oxygen. So not all of the hemoglobin that your body produces are able to transport the oxygen, which means that which means that your blood is not oxygenated properly. So the oxygen that you get normally goes to the most important areas of your body, while the rest of the body is just left with a lot of fatigue, a lot of shortness of breath, a lot of just being tired all of the time. You can understand now that this is quite a debilitating disease. I mean, both of them are. And this technology is able to change these kind of people's lives forever, because what CRISPR does is they take the cell from your bone marrow, they take it, they extract the DNA from this cell, and then from the DNA they find the specific gene that needs to be modified, and they modify it. You can see how important this technology is when you realize that our body has about 30 to 35,000 genes inside of our DNA. So this technology has to search through all of them and search the specific location where this gene is, and it just has to correct it. So imagine that the correct gene is written like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this person has this specific gene that has to do with the hemoglobin that writes 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. And this makes this person have a lot of pain or be very sick all of the time. The CRISPR technology goes and says, well, this is not correct. You cannot say 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. The correct one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just change this and put it correctly. So they take this gene, they put it back in your DNA, they put the DNA back in the cell, and the cell goes back to the bone marrow, where it will now create healthy hemoglobin. And then the healthy hemoglobin will transport oxygen through the body of the person. And in this case, the hemoglobin is no longer sticky, they don't stick together anymore, and you no longer have blood clots and you don't get a pain anymore. So this is extremely optimistic, if you ask me. In the case of the beta thalassemia, what it does is that they create the correct shape and the correct hemoglobin that is now able to transport oxygen through the body. So this study has, let me see if I can find it once again. This study has followed about the study for the sickle cell disease has followed 29 people out of the 45 participants long enough to be able to get the intermediate results for it, and they have found that 28 out of the 29 people that have been followed through the study did not get more pain in the following year after the treatment has been applied. And this is just a one-time treatment. So they just once put this cell inside of your body, and your body is now able to create the new kind of cells that are healthy, and they change your life, basically. The beta-thalassaemia, they normally had to go about once a month to get a blood transfusion in order for them to be able to function correctly or be kind of healthy, but they had to go back again and again and again, and they still weren't feeling perfectly fine. In the case of these people that have received the treatment, so the 42 of them that have received the treatment that have been followed for the first year, 39 of them did no longer need any kind of blood transfusion during the first year after the treatment. So for now, they just followed them for a year. It will probably go for longer because they need this kind of information and they need to follow up with the people through time, but we don't have that kind of information yet. So 39 of them did no longer need the blood transfusions in order to be healthy, while 3 other people had reduced the amount of blood that they needed to about 70%. So it's been reduced in 70%. So they only needed 30% of the blood that they needed previously. So 39 out of them were perfectly fine, and 3 of them, 3 out of 42, still needed a little bit of help. This is good stuff. So this is groundbreaking. This is extremely interesting. This is the kind of information that I like to share because it's extremely optimistic, although this, on the wrong hands, might end up quite poorly. So if we are able to change these kind of genes and make them healthy, we might also be able to change the genes of the little babies that are born, that we want them to have blue eyes instead of brown eyes, if we want them to be more athletic, if we want them to have a more tan skin or whiter skin, or I don't know the uses that this kind of technology might be able to have in the wrong hands. But I just want to think that this is going to be an optimistic kind of thing for the humanity, you know. CRISPR technology is world-changing technology, and I'm here to read about it. I'm here to talk to you about it, and also all the kind of information from the genetic field that I come across, I will just try to share it with you. So, is it ethically correct to do this? I don't know, you tell me, what do you think about it? I think that these kind of people are getting a better life thanks to the genetic modification, but we need more years to be able to know how this affects the future generations, how this affects your DNA, and if it changes it, how it will show up in the future generations. So, is this ethically correct? We don't really know because we don't know how this changes the DNA permanently. We just know that the DNA is now changed. In the first year, it's been perfect. Maybe the people that were in the study did have some symptoms like nausea, like that kind of stuff, but it's definitely changing their life for the better. So I think this is quite a happy news for the people that struggle with some kind of genetic mutation that makes their life be a little bit more complicated. On the other hand, we do not know how this will affect the people in the future. We don't know how this modified gene will be transmitted to the son or the daughter of this person, and that's kind of tricky, you know? It's kind of complicated. The other problem with this treatment nowadays, because I believe that it will be less expensive as time passes and as more information comes up and new technology is able to do the same stuff that CRISPR does right now, but this treatment is not easily accessible for everyone in the world, because in order for you to treat just one person with this treatment, you will have to pay about $2 million, as it's been estimated right now. So it's not the kind of treatment that you'll get at the NHS in the UK or the security services in Spain, like the medical kind of system, or the USA. Is not the kind of treatment that's going to be easily accessible for everyone right now. You know, the countries do not afford to spend $2 million on a person to just not be fatigued anymore and just not be in pain anymore, just one person, because the countries don't have this kind of money, and countries that are not that advanced technologically are not going to be able to use this kind of technology because they don't have it. So yeah, we'll keep in touch and we'll see and hear more about this. I'm sure about it. And if you found this interesting, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to my channel in order to be able to get more and more information on this topic of genetics that I love so much. I see you in one of my next videos. Bye.